They say speed is the essence of war. In the finals, nowhere is this truer than the widely popular light contestant who dances on the edge of danger, weaving between bullets and cloaking behind enemy lines. Today we've got someone special to guide us through the intricate role of playing as light. Meet Piggy, a former Twitch Rivals champion who ruled Hyperscape, now bringing that lightning fast instinct and incredible aim to the finals. Now remember that all the contestants in this game have a wide range of styles to play it, but the purpose of these guides are to get you to hit the ground running and pick up the brains of the proven players that have dominated in this game so far across all the betas. Now before we dive into today's video, I have an exciting announcement to share with you all. We're actually launching the official Thix Podium Discord server, and for those of you who join starting today, you'll be granted a limited founder role. This special role will allow you to proudly proclaim that you are among the very first members of our community. Please note that this founder role will only be available for a limited time, so don't wait, join us now using the link in the description below. This has probably been my most requested guide so far, so whether you're a new player trying to find your feet, or a seasoned player across other titles looking for that extra edge in this game, this guide is for you. So Piggy, welcome to the channel. I was first introduced to you from the Hyperscape montage that you posted on your channel, and I really enjoyed watching your movement in the game and how patient you are with your aim. But bringing that into the finals, what attracted you to the light contestant?
Thank you for having me, Thix. I think it's because I've also enjoyed playing agile, fast characters in games. It's a high risk, high reward playstyle that really gets to me. In Hyperscape I used to play sniper TP invis, and it was a thrill when you hit your shots, but super punishing if you miss. The light class in the finals gives off a similar vibe in terms of speed and style, so I instantly felt it was a perfect match for me.
Awesome, yeah, I can agree that it would make sense to pair up similarities across game titles for a preferred option. But say if there are currently viewers that could be contemplating choosing between light, medium and heavy, could you give me a quick summary of the essence of playing light?
Simply put, light is all about a hit and run playstyle. You're a sneaky flanker and a sharpshooter looking for picks, the thorn in the enemy's side. When I'm teaming up with a squad, you'll rarely catch me on the cash out. I'm out there running around the map, ensuring that the enemy doesn't even get close to the cash out. This allows my team to have a wider range of options in the game.
Perfect, so you could say that you're also the surprise elements to the other teams. You pop up when the opponents may least expect it and provide a huge burst of damage across the board. Let's start off with the builds for light. There's obviously a rich diversity in how you can play specializations, whether you're swinging through an arena with a grapple, darting past opponents with a dash, or sneaking around cloaked, but what's your go-to approach?
For me, the cloak reigns supreme because it offers the highest outplay potential. An average fight for me is that I assess my surroundings, enter a fight while cloaked, deal the burst of damage or utilize my gadgets, then exit out while cloaked. Picture this, I one clip a medium, vanish, then suddenly it's a 3v3. What has now happened? The enemy team is now down a healer or a defib, which is very crucial for certain fights. Grapple is useful, but cloak and dash is just better, in my opinion.
Exactly, and I think the specialization to choose for the viewers watching really depends on their goals and objectives. You want to trick shot and mess around? There's nothing wrong with choosing a grapple, but for an actual, let's say, real tournament scenario, picking up cloak or dash is super useful to assist in the movement and surprise elements that light offers. Now, heading on to the weapon of choice, this topic is a super competitive one because many players have different opinions about the arsenal that is offered to them. Do you have any takes to help sway some opinions? I mean, what's your preferred weapon so far?
This topic boils down to the person's strength and weaknesses. For me, it boils down to the MP5 and the LH1. The MP5 is undeniably reliable, it's straightforward, doesn't demand a steep learning curve, and gets the job done every time. On the flip side, the LH1, while it's got its challenges, like high recoil, it offers the highest DPS out of any light weapon. I personally think it's an option that rewards those willing to master it. The VS9 is also a strong choice. Some players like the ability to track with the MP5, but if you have reasonably accurate aim, then spamming left click at the enemies is a really effective option. For new players, I feel like they should pick up the VS9. It's definitely better than the MP5 at the moment, but if you like tracking, the MP5 is really good.
Yeah, I think this is a great take. Rather than only bolstering one weapon to recommend, I think that my take is actually really around what strengths of the weapon are. For example, if there's any damage drop off, and then obviously the damage that the weapon deals over the magazine size. Moving on to the gadgets then, I'm sure you've picked up a lot of insights and secrets that players watching this video are dying to know. These tools can really make or break your game. So Piggy, with your expertise, could you walk us through your top gadget choices and then the strategies that you employ with them?
First up, the stun gun. It may look like a troll pick, but it's a no-brainer for the light class. It's efficient, easy to use, and the stun duration is just right. Picture this, a heavy is about to unleash his RPG, or a medium is prepping the healing gun. One quick switch, they're stunned. The opponent can no longer ADS, they have reduced sensitivity, all the gadgets are disabled. It's a huge game changer in fights. Another tip for the stun gun, if you have a pick, you can camp the enemy statue and wait for their medium to go for a defib, and tase him before he even gets the defib off.
One of the things that took me by surprise was really how creative you can actually be with the stun gun. I think that it's important to really preserve that onto an opposing contestant that is doing an effective role, such as healing like Piggy discussed. But I actually found out that you can even go as far as to using the stun gun to stop players from stealing a cash out, a tip that could be super valuable. So what about your next slot?
The glitch grenade. If you're up against a well-coordinated team, especially one with multiple mediums or protected heavy, a well-placed glitch grenade can be devastating. No healing, no defibs, their sustain is completely gone, and a golden opportunity to pick them off one by one.
Yeah, I completely agree. For you sneaky light players out there, the glitch grenade is actually super useful to counter many heavy players and medium healers. Opt to put that in your loadout, and I can promise that many times the opposing team will panic around because their entire strategy of shielding and healing gets completely countered. I think that it's important you opt to use the glitch grenades in places where the other teams are running towards a cash out rather than already at it, because it can easily get countered by things such as an APS turret if the team has already placed it. Finally, for your last slot, what is your preferred to finish the build?
Third slot is actually flexible, and I often switch between either thermal breach charges or frag grenade mid-match. The thermal vision is effective against other light players that are using cloak as it reveals their position away, but I mainly use it for maps with low visibility against smokes and fog. If I find that I'm missing a heavy on my team, then I opt for the breach charge to be able to either place it under a cash out to stop the opponent stealing, or create new lines of sight in areas of buildings to give me an advantage to pick someone off. Finally, the frag grenades are useful for the extra quick burst of damage, and it usually makes entries much smoother for myself and my team.
I've heard a lot about the options that are given across the board with the grenades. Another option for me personally is the pyro grenade. It deals a slow burn of damage over time. If there isn't an APS, the pyro grenade is super useful to stop cash outs from happening, but typically it's very effective against teams that are staying together in one spot. I think a really good question that I'd love to see your take on is if you have any mechanics or tips that players still don't know or understand about light.
It's all about the mind game. Light isn't built for direct and fair fights. The trick is to always ensure you have a favorable position. Before diving into any fights, ask yourself, is my opponent's attention anywhere else? Can I sneak up without being spotted? Or is my move anticipated? These are the three things you should ask yourself before entering a fight as a light. Light's health isn't generous, so one misstep against a skilled player and you're coined out of the fight.
Okay, perfect. So you could say that the philosophy behind light is a mixed balance between the strategy and utility. I think that the skill would naturally evolve over time for everyone, so don't worry if you're struggling early on. I would really say if you really want to have the fastest improvement possible, those questions that Piggy asks himself are super useful to know what your execution will be.
Light's playstyle can be hard for newcomers, but that's the beauty of it. The thrill of mastering light is unmatched for me compared to any other contestant. I think that if you are starting out or struggling currently as a light, focus on these three things. Firstly, always be careful of heavies with RPG. Getting too close without their strategy is a ticket to respawn, since RPG deals 160 damage and you have 150 HP as a light, which means you're gonna insta-die. Secondly, always look for fights that put you in an advantage. Light thrives on making fights unfavorable for the enemy, so don't feel bad about it, it's a part of the game. Lastly, leverage Light's mobility to its fullest. The contestant was built to be agile and swift, so always be on the move, flanking and picking off unsuspected foes.
I would say that Light has its place in the current meta against the HMM combo because of its ability to disable that I actually still think people haven't put enough testing into. However, what would you actually say that Light fits into for team compositions, and does that role kind of change up in the early, mid and late games?
Light is essentially your team's fragger. While the medium and heavy might be engaging the enemy directly, Light is always on the hunt, seeking out vulnerable opponents and finishing off those who are low. During the early game, it's all about positioning and hitting those glitch grenades. You want to place yourself in those unsuspected spots, the off angles where the enemy doesn't anticipate a threat. It's all about the surprise and delivering that quick, decisive blow. Then there is late game. Things change a bit. Now you're not just looking for picks, you're safeguarding your objectives. Using tools like the stun gun, you can prevent steals that disrupt enemy plans, ensuring they never get close to the objective.
Exactly, and it does sound like adaptability is key. Whilst your primary role remains consistent, securing kills and obviously being a menace, the strategies that you employ have to evolve with the game's phases. It's all about reading the game, understanding the dynamics, and then leveraging Light's unique abilities to exploit these moments. As the game evolves, the Light character will mostly stay the same. When me and Piggy were casually talking, he said it perfectly to me that basically Light is the annoying fly that glitches the enemy and gets frags with peak frustration. However, speaking of frustration, there must be scenarios throughout the game that players will be challenged the most on. What are they, and do you have any tips that they can avoid them?
One of the biggest pitfalls for Light players is getting caught in the open or facing off against multiple enemies. The Light's strength is agility and speed, not endurance. If two players spot you, you're gonna have a tough time surviving. Things like using your movement, cloak, and weaving inside buildings are really helpful in taking away the effectiveness of the other contestants. You also need to make the most out of your gadgets. They are there for a reason. Sure, Light's arsenal is deadly, but sometimes a well-timed stun gun or glitch grenade can make all the difference.
Awesome, so the key takeaway here is not just relying on your raw aim, but strategically thinking about the fights, just like those questions Piggy mentioned you should ask yourself earlier. But I'm really interested on hearing your takes on any changes that Light should have.
Honestly, I mostly like where Light is at, but I would really say that Light should have 175 HP instead of 150 that it currently has. It's gonna make it so you don't get insta-killed by RPGs.
Awesome, Piggy thinks that Light needs a slight health buff, but what do you guys think Embark should implement changes for Light? Let me know in the comments below. The insights you've shared today, Piggy, have been really valuable to our viewers. To all the aspiring Light contestants out there, remember it's not just about the speed or the arsenal, but the strategy and anticipation. A big thanks to Piggy for joining us and shedding some light on mastering this agile contestant. My channel has been going absolutely ballistic, and honestly I didn't think I would be receiving this much support from you all. If you're commenting, liking, or even at a minimum just watching my channel, I genuinely mean it that I can't thank you all enough. My channel will be the perfect place to invest time into, as I have plenty of awesome videos in the pipeline to deliver to you soon, so I can't thank you and my members of the podium enough. That's all from me today. I hope you are enjoying the finals so far, and I will be also making a review video at the end of it to basically discuss my overall thoughts. But as always, I'll see you on the podium.